Another exciting week at the Matthews house, which means you get to see me again this week. But Tammy will be leading the discussion on Wednesday. Remember, we still have to talk about Law 9 and 10, the law of magnetism and the law of connection in class. But for now, let's dig into law number 11 and 12, the law of inner circle and the law of empowerment, both of which I've learned a great deal by working in law enforcement and with other groups. Now, the law of inner circle says that a leader's potential is determined by those closest to them. John Maxwell says a leader finds greatness in the group and helps the members find it in themselves. Leaders have to deliver, and there's no substitute for performance. But without a good team, they often don't get the opportunity. So I ask, what does your inner circle look like? Are they a talented group with little or no motivation, or are they not so talented but eager to really work hard? Your potential is determined by those closest to you. When John wrote this book, he saw 21 things a leader must do well to lead effectively. However, he also recognized that no single leader can do all 21 well. That's why you need a team, and it better be a good one. No one ever does anything great alone. Be strategic in creating your inner circle. Now, to practice the law of the inner circle, you must be intentional with your relationship building. As you build your inner circle, ask yourself the following questions. Do they have high influence with others? Do they bring a complementary gift to the table? Sometimes it's best to find someone whose strength is your weakness. How about, do they hold a strategic position in your organization? Or do they add value to you and the organization? And finally, do they positively impact other inner circle members? So, how do we live out this law of inner circle? Always recruit with the following traits in mind: competence, character, and chemistry. And remember, don't ever stop improving your inner circle. Be prepared to be an inner circle member for someone else. Tammy discovered this when she was asked to learn her boss's position until they could hire a replacement. Because she had been part of her boss's inner circle, she was able to step right in. So, how do we lead others to the law of inner circle? Being prepared to be an inner circle for a great leader. Outline why this is good for you and how you'll follow the 5 guidelines we just talked about. And grade yourself on the clarity and content of the lessons. Now, how do you teach others the law of inner circle? When you hear them say, I have a good team, but there isn't any true sense of ownership. Or, why is it that I'm the only one coming up with new ideas? Or, I feel like all the weight of this thing is on me. Make a list of your inner circle or circles. What are you doing to develop them? What are you doing to either be prepared to be in someone else's inner circle or to be a better member if you already are? Now we're ready to finish up with law number 12, the law of empowerment, which says only secure leaders give power to others. Are you starting to put some of the laws together? One of the greatest examples of how this law works comes from my favorite car manufacturer, Ford Motor Company. Henry Ford lived this law out, but in the opposite direction. His inability to allow his top execs to make needed changes nearly bankrupted the company by driving sales down from 50% of the market to a meager 28% by 1931. He developed systems to spy on his employees and continued to divide his top execs, which included his own son, Edsel. It wasn't until Edsel's son, Henry Ford II, brought in top execs from rival General Motors did Ford begin to see a profit in 1949. What's the lesson from Ford? If leaders want to be successful, they have to be willing to empower others. What is one of the best known examples of this? President Abraham Lincoln. If you want to read a good book about empowerment, read Team of Rivals. President Lincoln put all of his presidential rivals in positions of power in his administration, and as we say, the rest is history. Now, I also have a personal testimony about this very law. When I returned to college to earn my bachelor's degree, I enrolled in a program that required we do group projects, and I thought there was no way I could allow others to determine my grade. But over a 4-year period, I stayed with the same group of 3 men who, in the end, became really good friends. And we all had areas that we were really good at, and in the end, we defined how a group was supposed to function. So, what are the barriers to empowerment? Here are 3 of the main barriers. Desire for job security. The number one enemy of empowerment is the fear of losing what we have. How about resistance to change? Change is the price of progress. Effective leaders not only are willing to change, they become change agents. My own mantra says, things change quickly, or quickly things will change, but regardless of effort, change will occur. The only question is, do you make the change or do others make it for you? And finally, lack of self-worth. You can't lead a cavalry charge if you think you look funny on a horse. Self-conscious people are rarely good leaders. The best leaders have a strong sense of self-worth. So, how do we live out the law of empowerment? Find strong leaders to empower. The main ingredient for empowering is belief. In the law of empowerment, believe it, live it, and lead it. How do we lead others to the law? If you believe you have the right person to empower, believe in that person. Belief will allow you to lift up, give freely, and support. On Wednesday, be ready to share your answers to some of these questions over the 4 laws that you're going to be discussing. When you look at the qualities you look for in your people, do you possess these same qualities? And if you're not attracting the right people, who could be a mentor to help you develop any flaws in your character? If you're attracting the right people, who can you develop to help you fill in some of your own weaknesses? Next, what does it mean to have a heart for your people? Does that fit your leadership style? And can you walk slowly through a crowd and make a connection? Why or why not? How about, do you have an identifiable inner circle? How do you develop those who are around you to be part of an inner circle? Next, do you think it's fair that some people have more access than others? And how about, how would you characterize your own self-worth? Next, do you believe in other people? And finally, what must you do to learn to let go of power? I'm sorry I won't be with you Wednesday. I'll be getting ready to head out to Utah for a business conference. But I do look forward to getting back with you the next Wednesday as we start on laws 13 and 14. And as we come to the very end of this process, I truly hope that you're learning things and that you're starting to see your role as a leader.